Books, they're everywhere. Everyone reads them when they have nothing to do. They give us imagination. They give us creativity. Now, I've read two amazing books. This book, How to Train Your Dragon, and recently finished this book, How to Train Your Dragon, How to Be a Pirate. That's what I think it says. So, I'm going to review today as my first book review. Just forewarning of the video, this will contain potential spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, I recommend you should go get the books and read them before you come back. Okay, let me know in the comments. Pizza time! Our story begins in the Isle of Berk with our hero Hiccup in the dragon training program with their teacher Gobber the Belch, and he looks very hairy, trust me. So they need to collect some dragon eggs to raise their own from the cave, the dragon nursery. But it's not easy because so basically, there's this Viking called Snotlout. He decides that he wants to get a monstrous nightmare. So then the boys go in the cave. They get the eggs. They run out of there before they wake some dragons up. And looks like Hiccup found himself a green dragon. Looks like Hiccup found himself a common dragon. Wow! And looks like Snotlout has a monstrous nightmare. So basically at the time, Hiccup has a friend called Fishlegs. And he also had a dragon called Horrorcrow. And they both needed some help. And Hiccup could speak Dragonese. So Gobber the Belt said that all the dragon trainers needed to raise their dragons because the annual dragon festival's coming up where they'll all get passed, and if they fail they'll get banished to the terrible islands. That's what I think. I'm saying this from memory. So Hiccup and Fishlegs go home to Hiccup's house, and they figure out how to raise their dragons. Stoik the Voss, aka Hiccup's dad, gives an example about how to raise dragons. Always shout at them. That's not a good example, don't you think? Why shout at dragons? To make them obey. That's stupid. So Hiccup thinks the same as I'm thinking right now, which is a good sign, because then it would be too sussy shouting at dragons. Anyway, so then afterwards he comes to a conclusion that the best way to do is treat them like they're kings and just let them do whatever they want until they come right and speak to them in Dragonese. So basically, for the rest of the book, Toothless can speak in Dragonese, and we can see it in like fancy writing. So then, finally, the day of the challenge, I think, the festival arrives, and there's lots of stuff like axe throwing and operas and stuff. Then the day comes, and I quickly need to check something. The meatheads. Yes. So, by the way, Hiccup's tribe is called the Hairy Hooligans, and their rivals are the meatheads. So they meet up for the dragon training meetup, and basically there's a sort of challenge with the dragons, some certain tricks, but then there's a sort of fought between all the dragons, and then all the boys fail and they get banished to the Forbidden Isles. That's not a good sign. But deep below the sea emerges a giant sea dragon. No! A giant sea dragon! Why a giant sea dragon? Well, it's threatening to eat all the people. So Hiccup goes up to the giant dragon from the sea and says, "Hello, excuse me, please don't eat us," because a whole thing, and then the dragon gives a whole speech and stuff. But then he runs back to the island where all the other dragon owners are. So, and then they have a big discussion. So they have a plan now. All the dragons need to sort of fart against the dragon, like tickle his nose until sneezes. So that's what they do, and Hiccup gets almost swallowed, and then basically something happens. Another sea dragon emerges, and they fart, killing each other, which is quite horrifying. And Hiccup's almost swallowed before the other dragon could take his final breath. But Hiccup survives, and it's a happy ending in that, and Hiccup's famous for now. That's the review of Book 1. On to Book 2. In this book, things take a wild turn. So, now Hiccup's in the pirate training program, in the lesson Sword Fighting at Sea. So they have to swashbuckle and stuff. So that's what they do. And looks like there's like whole battles and stuff. I'm trying to remember. So then their sword fighting at sea lesson, when the ship almost sinks and they find a coffin. Grimbeer the Ghastly's coffin. Now you see, Grimbeer the Ghastly was a very wicked pirate, and he was very legend, and also the great grandfather of Hiccup. So he was a descendant Hiccup. He was the chosen one. But you'll see what that means later. So, then, basically the coffin shows up, and the hairy hooligans decide to take it to the Grand Hall with Stoik the Fastest. They open it, and Hiccup and Old Wrinkly, Hiccup's grandpa, regret it. But then inside is a sort of outcast-looking guy called Elvin. He says he's a poor but honest farmer, and he got purposely trapped in there to come to a shore, and that thing was cursed, which cut off his arm, which is terrifying. And he said he knows where the treasure to Grimbeer the Ghastly is, because he has the map. So Stoik decides all the dragon trainees and Hiccup are going to come along, and a few Burks and stuff, a few hairy hooligans and meatheads, and it's a whole story. So then a few training, but then Toothless doesn't trust this guy and poops in his helmet. And he puts it on his head. So, back to that. And then Hiccup's trying to practice his sword fighting. He's trying to master a move called Grimbeer the Ghastly's Lunge, I think. So the day finally arrives that they're setting out, And according to the treasure map, the treasure is on the Isle of the Scullions. A scullion is a very scary creature. Look at this. Now, you've seen what a scullion looks like. It's pretty scary. I know. So, back to this. There's sailing at sea. There's a few oopsie-daisy waves. They finally arrived at the Isle of the Scullions. Stoic has a plan. They can't fart, make noise whatsoever, or else the Scullions will awake and eat them all. And Alvin says he can't come along, and we don't know why yet. So, the pirates the hairy hooligans, the Vikings sneakily go onto the map. Snotlout's dragon finds the treasure and digs it up, and they all see lots of gold. But apparently, in the treasure chest is a stinky smell which awakens the Scullions and enrages them. So then all the Vikings are running back to the ship, and they manage to make it past. And then looks like Alvin, the poor but honest farmer, is the leader of some outcasts. His name is Alvin the Treacherous. There's a dirty double cross. There's some pirates that capture them all. That's not good. And Alvin says, "You'll all be slaves." So then something happens, the ship sinks, the others go back to land while Hiccup, Horror Toothless, Fishlegs, and Alvin are all trapped in an air pocket. So they decide, Toothless sees a cave, because he can breathe underwater basically. He sees a cave, and they make a plan to swim up to the cave with holding oxygen, so they go there. Then there's a door, says only the true heir is door. But Hiccup doesn't think he's the true heir because Snotlout found the treasure. Well, they opened the door and found a huge amount of treasure. And then Alvin says he made a vow that he would kill and murder the true heir of to Grimbeard the Ghastly and all its kind. So there's a big pirate battle, sword fight between Alvin the Treacherous and Hiccup. There's lunges and all stuff. Then the beast guarding the treasure awakens and eats Alvin. Don't worry, looks like he's going to be alive sometime soon. I don't think he's going to be alive. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyways, so then somehow Hiccup kills the dragon sea monster sort of thing. It has octopus legs. It's a mixture between a dragon and something else, and it's something from early on. Anyways, then there's a note on the door. Hiccup reads it, and it says what it says on the screen right now that I'll let you read for a few minutes. And then, so there we go. Then they discuss, Hiccup and Fishlegs discuss that even though they found so much treasure, they need to keep it a secret from the whole tribe, even though Snotlout didn't find the treasure and everyone thinks that was the real treasure. So, to this day, Hiccup and Fishlegs, at the end of the book, to this day, Hiccup and Fishlegs keep their secret of what they found that day, and to end the book, they arrive at Hiccup's house. Stoic gives him a big hug, and that's the end. I hope you enjoyed this book review, because it was a great one. A very difficult one to memorize. So, I'll see you next time. Next video is soon. Alright, see you guys. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.